Hi, everybody. This is Blaine DeSantis, and I welcome you to another edition of Books and Looks. Yes, it's our weekly voyage discovering the wonderful world of books, books I've been reading and authors I've been interviewing. And I apologize for today because we've had some technical difficulties. You never know. Things never quite go smoothly when it comes to these live interviews, and we had some technical difficulties. So today is just an audio interview. But today I'm talking to Robert Jackowski. Now, Robert's a friend of mine, lives over in another part of Greenville County, and he has written a book called Murder at the Hall. What we're taking from today's interview so much about the book, but it's self-published. A lot of us want to be authors. A lot of us would love to write. What's it like? Bob's going to tell you because he's retired, as I am. Also, he's going to talk to us a little bit about the process of self-publishing. The good points, the bad points, the highs, the lows. Okay. We're going to learn about that. But this is our last show of the year. That's right. I think it's appropriate that we begin the year the way we end the year, the way we started the year, because we started the year with only audio YouTubes, and we're going to end it with an audio YouTube. It doesn't matter because whether you can see me and Bob or whether you can't see us, it doesn't matter because the key is what the message is. And the message is do something you like, start the project. You know what? Put those things to-do list. Make a resolution. You want to write? Make a resolution to do that for 2025. Start that book or finish that book. In my case, I have to finish a book, but go ahead and do that. Have some fun with it. Use your life experiences. And maybe it's not going to be published by one of the big guys. Maybe you have to self-publish it. Or maybe you just have it for yourself and your family. Hey, it doesn't matter. It's all about the experience in doing it. So let's go right into our interview with Robert Jackowski. Bob, welcome to Books and Looks.
Thank you, Blaine. Hi, everyone.
Glad you could join us today. Bob, tell us a little bit about yourself. Because like me, we're both senior citizens. And so writing was not our first profession. What were you?
I basically was a financial and security analyst with Merrill Lynch, where I worked for 40 and a half years.
So you're up in Wall Street?
Yes, on Wall Street. And my first job was with Prudential Insurance Company, but I left that after a year only because I was bored. It was basically, I had more challenging jobs when I worked part-time in college. So I wanted to pick a career that would challenge me every day, that things would change. And I did find it at Merrill Lynch because luckily in college, I did have a part-time job with Hersh and Company, which was a member of the New York Stock Exchange. And I found the excitement and everything like that is what I missed. And I walked into Merrill Lynch and I said, hey, you're draft age. We're not hiring draft age people. Luckily, my wife was pregnant, and I just said, no, they don't want me because my wife is pregnant. So I was hired by Merrill Lynch.
There you go. Now, had you been an avid reader or writer during this time period?
My job responsibilities required me to write many reports, but I did not write any fiction well, not really true in graduate school is that I did some writing assignments, but they were maybe at most 2-page essays.
I see. Okay. So basically, when you decided to become a writer after you retired, this was something completely new for you.
Yes, but it dates back to when I was living in Manhasset, New York, and I was a member of the Rotary Council. And what was interesting about it, it's an organization for business and professional people, but they were bankrupt. As a matter of fact, they were still accruing dues income from people who died. So when I became president, I cleaned up that mess, and I basically wrote the beginnings of Murder at the Hall as a play to be performed as a fundraiser. that never came to pass, but that's okay. But I still saved my notes, and I was looking for something to do uh, in my old age. And I had, I think the first criteria for a person who wants to write is to entertain oneself, particularly if they live alone, as I do. And I, it's too bad you can't see it, but basically on my desk I have a Mickey Mouse cup, and I got that from a mentor of mine who was very, very successful, and he always wore a Mickey Mouse watch. And I asked him why. He says, because sometimes I have a tendency to take myself too seriously. He says, and then when I feel that coming on, I look at Mickey and I have to smile and I can't take myself seriously. I think that's good advice for many people, many careers, and particularly for writers, is not to take themselves seriously. It's also good when you reach an impasse in your writing, uh, because you need something to lighten up. And Mickey does it for me.
Oh, good. All right. Well, that's great. Now, you then decide to move from a play to writing this novel. Okay. And that's, you decide to take the play, not do the play, and make a novel. But, and there are a lot of us out there who want to write. Okay. And we don't quite know what to do, but you made it to the end, and we'll get to the novel. But I'm extremely interested, Bob, in your, this self publishing. Did you always want to self-publish, or had you tried to get it to an agent to get a publisher?
No, I did not try to get a publisher, and I got unsolicited ads on my computer from Reader's Digest. Now, I was always an avid reader of Reader's Digest when I was growing up. So I looked into it, and a subsidiary of theirs was Lifetime Publishing. And that's the reason why I selected them. I didn't go to anyone else. From my research about going online, it's very difficult to have someone publish an unknown author. So that's why I went through all of the copyright experiences and for at Lifetime, and they are, as I said, is a subsidiary of Reader's Digest, which I was very familiar with, and that's how I selected Lifetime. I really didn't look into any other publishers other than to a broad category of whether or not they would be charging for it.
Okay. All right. So that's fine. You found a publisher. You found self-publishing, which has become a huge, huge industry here in America. I don't think I could even sit there and try to wade my way through all the self-publishings out there, company that are out there. It's a huge process. But now, what did you do? Did you have to submit to them the whole manuscript? Did they say yes or no, or is it just okay? We've got it. We're going to start publishing.
That's the thing, is that they do not critique it. They really didn't do much in the way of anything. And as you since you read it, as you I had many rookie mistakes. I have completed a sequel, and I just have to get around to it. Sometimes I get to be lazy and everything, but that's the luxury of being retired. But more than likely, I will use Lifetime again. But it is not a free publishing thing, is that it will cost you some money, particularly as it pertains to buying copies of your book. I was invited to do several book signings, but particularly at Halls, which is in downtown Greenville, but I never got around to doing that. And my book has been listed on several websites. As a matter of fact, it is still available, either hard copy or online at Amazon.
Well, one of the things I always like to talk about and things that make it are that make these things are the title of the book and the book cover. Now, did you have any say into that, or did they choose the title and then the book cover?
No, this is Murder at the Hall was my own title, again, using a broad outline of a play that I wrote way back when, and I adapted it to Greenville. As a matter of fact, the address of the hall was basically a Knights of Columbus hall, which is now defunct.
Wow, that's great. So you personalized this to the Greenville area, and that was really neat that you were able to do that. Wow. Okay. So now a little bit about the book. Tell us a little bit about Murder at the Hall.
Okay, Murder at the Hall. Amy is the heroine. She grew up at the address that I gave in the book, and basically is that she was spoiled rotten, had anything physical that she did, but her parents were not the best of parents. They only, when there was a party at the home, she was allowed to make an appearance, but then she was basically ignored and sent to her room. So, having been neglected, uh, she went to college, and she was not too unhappy about it. And then a jock came involved with and her responsibility was to show him around campus. She graduates, and then what happens is that no one from her family showed up except the person that she tutored. And then what happened is that they became lovers. And then, but he was really, I'll use the, I guess bastard is a good word.
I think that fits in pretty well, Bob. Yeah.
He was not a good guy. Got into gambling, was in debt to gamblers, and everything like that. And then finally, is that what happened is that she was able to escape that, and she went on to Europe, and that is where my sequel will come in.
All right. Well, great. So she escapes that. There's a murder here at the former Knights of Columbus facility here in Greenville, and that's now the hall. And okay, now did you base them on anybody you know?
Luckily, by being in the Knights of Columbus, I met a lot of people, and I took parts of characters to uh, some of their features and assets and liabilities, and explored it on them. But I kept that part of it, the characterization about whom I did, anonymous.
Names you use are not the names of the people who you base the story on.
The people that I based on were people that I met in Greenville, and basically what happened is that I have an active imagination, and I think I mentioned that the germ of this project really started back maybe 30 years ago when I was living in Manhasset, New York. But the character traits I tried to make as local as possible. I think that the best advice that I could give to anyone that wants to write is to pick things that you could smile about and expand on it and use your imagination. I've been accused of having an active imagination since I was a toddler.
Well, that's wonderful, but that's you need that to write fiction. You need an active imagination to write your fiction, and I'm very excited that that you've got a sequel that's going to be coming. Now, one thing I noticed some names in the book which may be somehow related to you, one way or the other. I know some of the names. I didn't see my name in there, Bob. I did not see my name there. Am I going to be in the sequel?
I'll make sure that
You don't have to do that. But, oh my.
you just made me do a commitment. Actually, is that where I'm at is I'm sure I could find a role where you would fit. I may even make you like the equivalent of a consigliere.
Ah, there you go. That's fine. Hey, that's what it's all about. I have tried. I started a book. I'm probably two-thirds of the way into it. And friends, I can't finish it. And you don't know the admiration I have for Bob, because Bob is a few years older than me, but he sat down, he wrote this thing, he had the determination, and he had the foresight to see it through. He had the beginning, the middle, the ending. It's hard to do, friends. It is hard. But you know what? And Bob, I'm sorry if I editorialize here a minute, but it's a goal. It's a New Year's resolution, my friends. Write. If you want to write, you have something to say, be it a biography, autobiography, a fiction book like Bob's written, go ahead and start. Bob is a great, great inspiration for all of us who feel we want to write. Bob, I so appreciated that you wrote this book. And do you have anything that you would want to say to the people about self-publishing and your thoughts about, is this the thing to do? How is the best way to search other than Reader's Digest? Do you have anything on that?
The Reader's Digest way is a pretty good start to get your name appearing, because an active publisher doesn't really want to subsidize someone that doesn't have any reputation. So I think that it's a good way to get it started, because they also market both the hard copy and the email edition on Amazon, which is a great purveyor. And then you need friends and everything like that to spread the word too. According to the information that was given to me, I've sold over 3,000 copies of it, which isn't bad. But
No, that's
one
wonderful.
thing that you have to be prepared for is that the publisher, in this case, Lifeline, maybe I got royalty checks totaling 50 some odd dollars, because they take their cut out for publishing and everything like that, advertising and everything like that. So very little is left. My purpose and so far it has not reached fruition, was to get my name out there, as a published author, and to use it as a springboard for a follow up. But I've just been too lazy, frankly, and enjoying the good life on it. But as I'm almost finished now, Blaine has given me another task to write him in as a viable character.
There you go. I'm a character. I'm not always viable, but well, I'm going to tell you what. Again, as friends, as I say to you, it's a lot of us want to start writing when we retire. It's not easy, and so you have to listen to some of the experiences that Bob has got and tell you about the situation. You're not going to become a multimillionaire, okay, being self-published. On the other hand, there are some who make it very big. A girl named Colleen Hoover, a huge, huge author. She started out self-publishing. After she sold millions of copies of her books, guess what? The publishing company came after her, okay? But it does not happen. But that doesn't matter. It's getting it down on paper and getting it out in print.
I think the best advice that I could give Blaine is that you first write for yourself to enjoy it, to laugh, fill up some time, particularly if you're retired, and you're wondering what you should be doing. I think that it's an excellent diversion, and I think that it forces you to use your imagination and, of course, your life experiences. I had a great business career. I used to travel around the country and internationally, meeting wealthy individuals, presidents of countries, ambassadors, senators. It. So I think that you need to gather in all of your life experiences and then put a smile on when you're doing the actual writing. That's why I constantly have on my desk a Mickey Mouse cup, because then I can't take myself seriously.
Well, I think that's a good thing to have, Bob. I think that's sage advice because you're right. Write for yourself, write what you know, write what makes you happy. And you know what? Whether it's published or not, you're going to be happy with what you did. And that's sage advice for all of us, my friend. Sage advice. Anyway, I know we have to get rolling here, but Bob, I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show today, giving us some of the insights about self publishing. Tell us a little about Murder at the Hall. You can get that on Amazon, friends. And again, thanks so much for being here on Books and Looks.
Thank you, Blaine. Bye bye.
Friends, we'll be right back in a moment. Bob, thank you for this interview. I had a wonderful time, as you can tell by my laughing at many things. Maybe I will be the consigliere in your new book. I'm not sure. But, friends, the year has come to a close. This is coming out on December 31. Next year is upon us. And, there's a whole host of amazing shows coming up next year and books. I'm going to tell you what, we got some great authors. We have some young adult authors. We have some really fascinating biographies. We have some, I think we've got some more mysteries and historical fiction coming at us. But I'm going to tell you what, 2025 is going to be a really fun year. You don't want to miss out. Anyway, thanks so much for what you've done. We've grown our subscription rate by over 50% this year. Yeah, 50%. That's not that from 2 to 4, okay? But we've done really well with subscriptions. Keep subscribing, keep listening, keep sharing. We appreciate it. On behalf of my website, booksandlookspodcast.com, on behalf of my good friend at Podcast Studio X, this is Blaine DeSantis for Books and Looks. Say, may all your leaves be pages in the book, and may you have a great 25. So long.